Chasing happiness, running through the rain, turning all the little things into something great. With every heartbeat, we're finding our way. This is the moment, today's the day.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Happiness. Today we're talking about how Chasing Happiness began, and it began with Laura. So Laura, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Dun, dun, dun. So I suppose for me it started a year ago from a place where I think most mums go to, where I didn't know who I was or what I wanted to do. I primarily was a stay-at-home parent, wanted to stay being a stay-at-home parent and being around for the boys, but also wanted to work and find a little bit of me again. So we both started going to Carina, full purpose. Yeah, full purpose. For Reiki. And I think it was through my Reiki sessions that we kind of dived a little deeper into, who was I? What was I good at?
Yeah.
I'm amazing at talking. I never shut up. So I came up then how I choose to parent boys. And I, in a weird way, that would be a whole lot of podcasts. We're not going to get into
That's not a weird way, it's just your
Yeah, I do it my way. I don't think that I have to follow a book. And I think that a lot of that is also part of chasing happiness.
Yeah.
I'm not a person that has structure or has rules. I'm like, it's life.
Yeah.
I have one opportunity. Let's see what I can do. So we're talking about that and the fact that I wanted them to be these people that could change the world and be impactful, and not in a pressured way, but in a, they're so amazing that they can lift other people up. And Karina just kept going, but why can't you do that? Why can't you do that?
Well,
And I was like, well, I do for them. And I feel like I do for my friends because you all come to me for advice. So clearly I have to be good.
You're like the therapist with him.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
You know?
Anything happens, it's like, I have to tell Laura right now.
Thanks, guys. So it's those kind of things. And I sat with it for a while and didn't know where I was going. And I was like, is it staying in beauty? Because again, in beauty, you're a form of a therapist. People come, they'll tell you their life stories, and they leave, they feel better. Yeah. So I was like, is it that way? Is it going into schools and helping children understand you don't need to know who you are or what you are right now? You do need to be decent.
Yeah.
You do need to be kind. You do need to put your best foot forward every single day. So I was tossing and turning with the ideas, and it was actually one of my friends who's a client as well came and was just venting and telling me about her life, and I was like, how alone do you feel right now? And she was saying that she felt like she was the only person going through what she was going through. She didn't know where to go. She was trying to figure it out all by herself.
Yeah.
And I was like, there are so many people
This is what
that I know going through your situation currently that are telling me, but you don't know each other. So could I create a space where you could all just come? And like, if you were to share a story, maybe there's 20 other people that have your story.
Yeah.
If she was to share her story, maybe there's 20 other people that have that story.
Yeah.
So that everybody sees. Nobody is perfect. Nobody has a fabulous life. Yeah. Instagram is highlight reels. And we can create this little village of support outside. So how do I make that happen?
So was that kind of like your light bulb moment, in a sense, that you were like, oh, this is what I want to do? Like, this is what
I wanted to have the safe space.
Yeah.
I didn't know how.
Yeah, or how you were going to get there.
Yeah. So I got the name first.
Okay.
Because I was like, I remember sitting down with her and saying to her, I wish everybody would stop focusing on everything else and just focus on their happiness. Because if you follow your happiness. So then I was like, oh, it's following happiness. And I was like, that sounds so proud.
I don't like that. Yeah.
It's not that. So I actually still have my diary where I kept playing with it. And I was like, it's something happiness.
Yeah.
And literally was like all these different words. I went chasing happiness. I like that. That makes sense. Yeah. And then I was explaining it all to Owen, and he was like, why chasing happiness? Because that's what husbands do. They ruin your ideas in 5 seconds.
They bring you back down.
Yeah. Don't stay up there. So he was like, why chasing happiness? And when I explained it, he was like, that is the best thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
So much sense.
Yeah. And I was like, I thought I do was the best thing that came out of my mouth. Whatever. So yeah, I was like, this is it. And then he followed up, as he does, with, so what is it?
What?
And I
Yeah.
went, the name.
Mm.
I don't know past that.
Yeah.
Give me another few weeks.
Mhm.
So that was all last summer. And then coming into the winter, I was like, I know I want to still do something. I still don't know what it is. So we had spoken about potentially doing the Reiki practitioner course.
Yeah.
And
Or
I
I
was
guess
like,
the Reiki level 2, wasn't it? That was
yeah, sorry, the Reiki level 2. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe it's Reiki. Maybe that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But then I still keep getting this pull back to beauty and holistics because that's where my entire life has been for the last few years.
Yeah.
And I know it's something I can do around the boys, and I've been very lucky to be able to do around the boys. So I was like, maybe it's that. But there was just, you know, when you just have this thing and you're like, I have more to give.
Yeah. You know that there's something there, you just
Yeah.
can't figure it out.
I couldn't figure.
Yeah.
So I went back to Reiki with Karina again, just before Christmas, and that was intentionally timed because I struggled with Christmas, I struggle with winter. So I was like, I want to go into this good,
Mhm.
and I want to try and use anything that comes up over December.
So you were kind of going into it more to protect yourself for the winter
Yeah.
rather than trying to figure out what
Exactly.
this was.
Because I was like, if I get in a negative headspace, the work I've done is going to go out the window.
Just be forgotten about.
Yeah.
In a sense. Yeah.
So I want to go in positive headspace. And then if something happens, be
Mhm.
like, oh, maybe I need a safe space for this. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to be able to vent about this. And she mentioned that she was a life coach. And I was like, oh,
I like life
tell
coaching.
me more. And she did. And I was like, I think I could be good at that.
Yeah.
And she said it herself. And I'm not one for compliments, as you well know.
Mhm.
But she was like, I think you'd actually be really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Think about it. So I did. For 4 months.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to go into this. I'm a very impulsive person. I'll just jump.
Mhm.
And I'll think about consequences afterwards. And I was like, this is my life.
Yeah.
This is my boy's life. And this is potentially affecting other people because I don't want to take on clients if I'm not going to be good at it.
Mhm.
I'm actually going to think about it. So I told nobody.
Yeah.
I didn't tell Owen. I probably told you, but I don't think I was like actively like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I think it
Yeah.
was,
Oh, life coaching.
I might.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Maybe.
down the line at some point. Thought about it really, really hard, and then behind everybody's back, just like booked in for it.
Yeah, because I think I remember you
And then
just
said it.
messaging me one day being like, oh yeah, so I signed up for that course. And I was like, wait, what? That's
Yeah.
an actual thing that's happening. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was.
And I think it's good that I did it that way. I think this time around I went into everything keeping it as quiet as I could,
Mhm.
so that I was the only negative commentary in my head.
Yeah, because I think that stops us a lot. That
Yeah.
we say something, oh, we'd love to do this. And then people's opinions get into our heads before we even process it.
For sure.
And then it leads us to a point that we're like, oh, we
Yeah,
won't
I
even do
didn't
that.
even want to do it
Yeah.
anyway. So this time I was like telling nobody.
Yeah.
But then I was like, with life coaching, how can, obviously, because that's my brain, I fire a lot of things, and then it's
Yeah.
like tiny little starting point, molehill.
Yeah.
Because I need to know everything.
Mhm.
So I was like, how could I do this? And then it's a lot of social media, it's a lot of talking, it's all of this. So I started listening to people like Mel Robbins, all of these different, inspirational people.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
I think
like
it's a
this.
podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's a podcast. So I like sprinkled it into conversations with people, being like, would you listen to a podcast that was
Yeah.
like this?
Mhm.
Not asking outright,
Yeah.
being like, give me a little bit of
What do you
feedback so I
think
know.
about this idea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of you were like, that'd be really, really good. I think we all had an overall, the same kind of consensus on podcasts of those of us that listened to them loved them, but we loved different aspects, but there
Yeah.
wasn't one full podcast that gave us everything.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that this is going to be it, but I kind of hope it will be.
That's the plan.
Yeah, for me, my issue with podcasts that I listened to was I struggled hearing celebrities talk about how hard their life was,
Mhm.
because I felt like they're in a position that's way more fortunate than
Mhm.
many of us.
Yeah.
And not that I want them to go through hardship, and I understand it was still hard, but you had the financial means
Yeah.
to get out of it.
Mhm.
We don't.
Mhm.
So for us dealing with mental health, we don't necessarily have the luxury to just go, I'm going to go to counselling.
I'm going to pay for this every week.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
gonna-
expensive. Do you have disposable means to do it? We don't.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't an option, even if I wanted to go back to work, because childcare is so expensive.
Mhm.
I would have been spending my wages
Yeah.
plus some of own's to do it. So logically, I'm going to stay at home and raise my kids.
I think that's, especially nowadays within the climate, the world that we live in,
Mhm.
it is a hard thing to realise that you're better off just giving up your entire career
Exactly.
in a sense,
You
and
know,
staying at home because you can't afford to do anything
100%.
else.
And I don't think any parent minds having to do it. I think what a lot of people struggle with is, as women, we've given up everything.
And you've no option.
We lost our bodies. We lost our minds. Quite literally. You know, we gave up everything. And then this is one more thing to have taken away from us.
Yeah.
You know? So it's all of these put together. And I was like, I just want a place where the person I'm listening to could be me.
Gets me in a sense.
Yeah. I could have gone through that.
Yeah.
Like, I have had that struggle. I haven't had the financial support. I haven't had the support of friends, the support of family, the support of whatever it is.
Yeah.
That could be me. I can see myself in that person.
Yeah.
But then I didn't want it to be all negative. So I was like, but I want that person to like prove that, like, yeah, it's tough, it's hard, it's hell sometimes. But I can see the rainbow and I'm going to go over and get my
And
pot
you
of
can
gold.
do it. Like,
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where you came in.
That's where I came in.
Yeah. I can do it. I
Yeah.
can talk. But who do I talk to?
Yeah, I can't talk all day on my own. Like that
Yeah,
kind of,
you know, well, I could, and I can answer myself, but I don't think that's normal. But I was like, I do want to do this with somebody that not only gets me, but as different as we are, I feel like we're like the same person.
I always explain our friendship as we are basically the same person, but we are completely different.
Yeah,
at the
we're
same
just
time.
wrapped differently.
Yeah, completely
you know?
different. Yeah.
But both of us, I think we push each other, but we support each other as well. And it's not a case of like, if something took off for you, I'm in the background being like,
Oh, I'm so
Right.
jealous. Why did she do
how
this?
dare she have a good life?
Yeah.
You know, we both cheer each other on.
Mhm.
So why not have you doing this big thing with me?
Yeah.
That potentially, like we wanted to kind of take off
Mhm.
and help a million other people.
Yeah.
Why not give our friendship to other people?
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
So that was how the whole
How
idea.
I came.
Yeah,
how
the
I
whole
came along,
idea
yeah.
name came about, and that came up to you and to
Did you find it hard to kind of deal with the fact that you'd be putting your story out there and that you'd be, talking about the hard things and talking about,
I think I'm a person that I'm a very, very lucky person with my
Yeah.
mindset majority of the time.
Yeah.
In the politest, kindest way possible. I could not care less what you think about me.
Yeah.
And it has taken me years to get
Yeah.
there. And obviously I still have days where I'm like, oh, everybody's gonna hate it and think
Yeah.
I'm stupid. But 90% of the time I am very much, if you're not in my circle,
Mhm.
I
Doesn't
don't care
matter.
about your opinion because you're gonna have it regardless of what I do.
Yeah.
And the people I have around me. And I think a lot of that also comes from I'm lucky with the people I have around me.
Yeah.
Like I've handpicked G specifically
Yeah.
to
They're special.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and you've seen my circle. I'm very, very cautious of who
Yeah.
comes into. I don't give my time to a lot of people. I don't go out a lot.
Mhm.
Like I now know what's good for me.
Yeah.
And I stay within that. So I think you've made it so acceptable and safe for me to share my story that
Yeah.
I was like, you know me. You know what I'm saying. You know the truth. So if everybody else has an issue,
That's on them.
maybe it's their issue.
Yeah.
For them to deal with. I don't have to worry. There is going to be parts of my story I'm not going to share.
But that's fair because I think everyone is entitled to having boundaries
Yeah.
within what we're okay with sharing. 'Cause we all
Exactly.
have a story like that. Some of it isn't ours to tell.
Exactly. Like it's affecting other people. So not everything is going to be shared. We have both had the discussion of whether we're comfortable having the children shown.
No.
I'm not.
Yeah.
They've never been on social media. They're not going to be until they choose it.
Yeah.
So there is going to be things I'll be holding back. And it's not from not wanting to share a place. I'm protecting other people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we want to be respectful of everyone else.
Exactly.
Because we're the ones that were choosing to do this.
Exactly.
And not everyone wants to.
Yeah. So sharing my story and the parts of my life that I can, no. Like you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. But that's me anyway. I am Marmite.
I think we are quite open people though, within a sense. I think people don't understand that, especially nowadays. I feel like there's a lot of things that are taboo and things you can't talk about. But I feel like we kind of break that mold within a sense.
Yeah.
We're good with talking about anything.
We just don't understand. Like what's the issue though? What's making you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We and our friendship definitely we have
We
no
have no
boundaries.
boundaries.
No boundaries.
No, we've gotten to a point that I'm like, oh, Laura, da, 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 like telling her
Yeah.
things, and then I'm like, oh, by the way, I was doing this, or by the way, I was doing that. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that we keep private, really.
No, there is literally nothing
There's
that we
nothing,
keep private.
yeah.
And I think that that's a good thing. And I think that like that comes back as well to the chasing happiness and what we want. Like we want that
Yeah.
for everybody.
Because a lot of
You
people,
know.
I think nowadays, struggle with the fact that they're going through a certain situation. Like you said, that's what kind of helped you get to this place, that you want to do this. I think a lot of people think that they're the only ones going through it.
Yeah.
So that's especially why we're so cool and so open with talking, because we're like, these are normal things that
Yeah.
people are going through, but we just can't speak about it for some reason.
Like even going into some of our upcoming episodes, talking about mental health, you shouldn't talk about it. That's
Yeah.
what society has told us. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
People are going to think differently.
Yeah.
Let them.
Mhm.
Let them think differently
Yeah.
of me. I went through something. I fought it.
Yeah.
I came back stronger.
Mhm.
I want my kids to know that.
Yeah.
Even, oh my God, and it wrecks my head. And you know how much it wrecks my head? Because I have boys. I do not care today. I won't care tomorrow. I'm not going to care in 10, 20, 30 years' time if my kids show emotion.
Yeah.
Oh, let them.
Yeah.
If they want to cry, bawl. I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
But any person that thinks that I'm going to sit back if they tell my children that they're not man enough because they're crying,
No.
come deal with me and I'll show you what a
Yeah.
man's going to look like. Because I can guarantee you them showing emotion is 10 times stronger than the person that's holding it in because they're not scared of it.
Yeah.
What are you scared of? Share it. Talk about it. It's fine. Everybody has to feel something.
I think if there was a lot more of that mentality, that I think there'd be a lot less struggle within a sense.
Yeah, so much less. Like even I have friends, both male and female, they're like, and I'm like, why are we whispering about it?
Yeah.
I'll go.
I go every week.
Do you want to come with me?
Yeah.
Like, why are we whispering it?
I found
What's the issue?
I found that too at the start. Like when you tell people, they're like, "You can't say that." I'm like, I go to counselling every week. They're like, "What?
Yeah.
Why?" And I'm like, because I want to.
Yeah.
Because I need to. Because it's something I do for myself. Whereas people are like, mental health. No, we can't.
Yeah, you can't talk about
that.
this. Or like we have another episode,
The next one.
talking about narcissistic exes, and it's like, oh, but you can't talk about them. I can. I lived it.
I went through it.
If they want to come on, they're not welcome in my house. But if they want to come on, I'll Skype them. They can have, you know, an argue back. But that's my truth.
I think this whole thing, Chasing Happiness, and the podcast, we're not here either to crap on someone else. You know, we're not here to go,
we're telling
you were a bad person or you did this. We are generalizing, or not. We're not generalizing. We're speaking about our story from a generalized point of view, in a sense. We're not going, this is the person, they did this, and this is why.
No,
this
we're
happened.
never going to drop names.
No,
you know who you are.
You do.
That's all I have to say. And my thing is like, I can go back. I'm 35 this year. I can go back over my life. Have I been perfect? No.
Yeah.
Have I always tried to be the best I could be in that moment, in that situation? I can hand on heart say I was.
Yeah.
You know, I've hurt people. I've upset people. I've said the wrong thing. I've never done it from a place of absolute malice.
Yeah.
I was dealing with what I had and what I knew at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for my kids. They're not going to be perfect. I don't want them to be. I want them to make mistakes. I want them to screw up. But I want them to know how to come back.
Yeah.
You know?
There's always a way back.
Exactly. And I can take accountability. And there is people from my past who aren't currently in my life that if they were open to having conversations, I'm fine having those conversations.
Yeah.
I'm fine to take accountability for my thing as long as they took accountability for theirs also.
Yeah.
You know? Other than that, we're good. We have separate lives. We're both happy.
Yeah.
We can leave it there. But I think that that's what we want. We want to speak our truth and have other people see we've gone through it.
Yeah.
We've come out the other side. You can go through it. You can come out the other side. It is hell.
Yeah. Hell.
But if you don't, if you're not going to go through the worst moments, are you ever really going to appreciate the best ones?
No. And I think that a lot of those hard moments lead us exactly to where we need to be. You know?
Exactly.
As hard as they are going through it, and as hard as they are to process these things that are happening to us, that's the way your life is meant to play out within a sense, and to lead you exactly where you're meant to be.
Exactly. And we're not going to name and shame. They know who they are. It's how you want to take it. But come on, if you want to share your side, nobody's stopping you. But also, you're not named.
Yeah.
So if you think my episode's about you, reflect.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Maybe
about
it
you.
is.
Maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm talking
Yeah.
about some other person.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking it's about you and you don't like what you're hearing, think about what.
Yeah.
You know? And I
Right.
think both of us are very open to criticism as
Mhm.
a whole. Like, don't tear us down completely.
Yeah.
We're human.
We're good. Yeah.
But, like, if you do something that bothers me, you don't get insulted when I'm like, why would you say that?
Why? Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, that could have been
Mhm.
harsh. And same, vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that the fact that we're able to self-reflect
Mhm.
and try and be better shows that in most of these, not most, a lot of the most recent situations, we weren't the problem.
No.
You know?
We're never the problem. I'm joking.
Maybe never. But no, I think it is a lot of
Mhm.
self-reflection. I
Yeah.
think then we both put in the work over the last few years to be the best us we can
Yeah.
be, to be the best parents we can be, to raise the best children, to go out and try and do it.
Mhm.
That, you know, if people do want to come back and be like, well, that's not the story I have, fine.
Yeah.
My truth doesn't have to be yours,
Mhm.
but you're not going to shut me up either.
Yeah. Are you excited where this podcast could possibly lead us to? Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I think that this is one of the first times where I feel really, really at peace with my decision.
Mhm.
You know, like I started in childcare and I never felt like
Yeah.
that was my calling. I love children.
You're
when
on
they're
board.
mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mum works in childcare. She's amazing. She would still be taking on children if she could.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you're lovely.
I just
Go
want
home.
my own.
Yeah, you know. I have a time limit and it was too long in childcare. Then I went into hospitality and I was like, I love the people, but
Yeah.
then customer is not always right.
Yeah.
And having to act like you're not, you're entitled. There's a difference. I will take any issue you have, but speak to me with respect and
Mhm.
politely, and then I'll
Yeah.
listen. Other than that, I'm not going to be like, I'll mirror back what you want to get.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that, and I am a hot-headed person.
Really?
You know, I just like to stand up for myself or for other people. I can't take people just intentionally being nasty.
Yeah.
I struggle with it. So I struggle with hospitality for that reason. Then when I came back, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a while when I moved back to Ireland. And I was like, I've always had this like love of beauty.
Mhm.
Will I go there?
Yeah.
But then I don't know, because do I just like playing in it, or do I actually want to be in
Did
it?
you want it as your career?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. So study that, and I did love it. I did, but for different reasons, I didn't know how long I could stay in it. So
Yeah.
with holistics, I'm a week back, so that was causing issues.
Yeah.
And then with beauty, it's what I think suits you might not be what you want.
Yeah.
And then people aren't great at explaining this, as you'd have got the
Mhm.
same in hairdressing.
Yeah.
I want blonde. What version?
What? Yeah.
Do you want ash blonde? Do you want...
They come in
you
with
know-
black hair and they want bleach blonde,
Yeah.
like platinum blonde. You're like,
Exactly. And
Okay.
you're trying to tell them these things, or you're trying to tell them how far your capabilities go, but you're just wrong.
Yeah.
So I struggled with that. And then around COVID, my anxiety just went shocking.
Yeah.
And the way some clients were treating me and talking about me and everything, it got to a point where I didn't even want to leave the house. I couldn't, but I didn't want. And then once Lordan was born, I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I can't do this to myself.
Yeah.
But I don't want to come away because I don't want to give in to other people, because I love it. So I just need to see what parts
Yeah.
I kind of fall into.
Mhm.
And then that's where like Reiki and stuff came in, and the podcast. And I was like, we can do all this. I can show my boys, you can always chase your dreams.
Yeah.
You can always change,
Mhm.
but never lose you and who you are.
Yeah.
You know, so I wanted to have everything. And then I wanted it to blow up in the sense of, I've had people being like, oh, you just want to be famous. I do not.
No.
I do not want fame. I do not want, no.
It's funny, we've actually had these
No.
conversations that
Yeah.
we're like, if there's a possibility, if this could happen where this does take off, if.
Yeah.
We don't want it in a
No.
sense. We want it, yes, because we want to get out there. Like we said, we want people to know that it's not just them that are going through situations, but we don't want it for the wrong reason. Like,
People have to know where we live because we work here.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want people just randomly showing up in my home.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can come for a treatment, you can
Mhm.
come as a guest.
Yeah.
Or you can not be here at all. That's also cool.
Mhm.
Kind
Yeah.
of. I want it to blow up in the sense of, I want to be a safe place for people, and I want people to know that their voices are going to be heard. I want it to blow up because I want my boys to see that you can do anything if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
And you can change your mind a million times like I have, and I probably will continue to do because that is who I am. So in that sense, I want to blow it up, but I don't want the fame side of it. I don't want any of that. If this was to completely take off the way I think it can, I want it to blow up for the right reasons and for the fact of, oh, have you heard these people? Like, I went through something like that, but look what they've been able to do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want this. Aren't I the best person? Give me free stuff.
Yeah.
Keep it. Give it to somebody that needs it. You know, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. So yeah, but that, and I think that's kind of why I feel sick about it, because I'm like, oh, it has the potential to be amazing. But what are the consequences of the potential? Yeah. You know, and that kind of scares me, because as much as I want to create a safe space for everybody else, I need it to be a safe space for my kids first.
And you want to, you want to keep that within your life.
Exactly.
Well. Yeah.
And because I already have my own issues and struggles with anxiety, I also need to know I have to keep a rein on that.
Yeah.
So if this got too much, I'd have to be like, okay, look, that's
I'm taking a break.
bigger than I am.
Yeah.
Somebody else have it, but you can't have the name because I thought that. Tells me.
So what's next for Chasing Happiness?
So we have our salon opening, fingers crossed, in September, and we're going to be both offering, you know, a variety of things, from beauty treatments, holistic treatments, Reiki. Then I'll be qualified hopefully by the end of the year in life coaching, so I'll be doing that in January. For the podcast, we have
so many ideas,
so many good ideas. Like, just to touch on the next few topics, we're going to be talking about, as I said, narcissists in relationships and how to deal with that. We are going to be covering mental health and how to deal with that.
Yeah.
From our perspectives, and we will give help on where you can go. Don't take our advice. Yeah. We're going to be covering the difference between dating now versus dating 10 years ago. Yeah. We are going to have my husband on, and he's going to talk about how he built up his success. Yeah. And all of these different things. We have loads more. They're just the next handful.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Really exciting. Yeah. I think a lot of this as well is that you just touched on it there. It's from our perspective and how we've gotten to where we've gotten and dealt with our stories and dealt with what has happened to us. That doesn't mean that that's going to work for everyone.
No, because even how we dealt with things was completely different. Completely different. So it's just from our perspectives, but it's to let people know there is a variety of ways out there. Just choose one that suits you. And then we will hopefully be doing meetups as well in the next kind of couple of weeks or months. Yeah. Because we are busy mums, it is difficult to fit in everything. Podcasts, everything. Yeah. But we will be doing that to hopefully just introduce a few of our listeners to each other, so that if there is people who have similar struggles, similar interests, similar anything, we can just create a little Chasing Happiness village for everybody.
That was the goal all along.
Yeah. That is all we want. So share us. Yeah. Invite people to listen. That's it. Yeah. Until the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.